Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to introduce to you GraphQL within Builderius Site Builder. This video is intended for complete beginners. It doesn't assume any prior knowledge about GraphQL, what it is, how it works, anything. So to begin, GraphQL is a fully featured query language built for modern web applications for retrieving data between different stacks, front-end and back-end, remote and local. Since visual builders are essentially front-end applications built on modern JavaScript frameworks, GraphQL is built precisely for these kinds of scenarios. It provides many benefits, and we will explore these benefits in future videos. But in this video, which is the first video about GraphQL, we shall just show you the beginnings. The idea here is not to show you everything. The idea is to show you the interface, show you how the workflow works, and help you get started to learn as you progress. To repeat, it doesn't require prior knowledge, but it requires an interest and the will to try. Within Builderius, I'm now in the single post template. We can use various dynamic data sources in various places. Whatever you do, even if you don't use any GraphQL, you will be using GraphQL under the hood, because there are many items of GraphQL that have been built in by the team so that you can more easily use them. Here is one example. If I add a section here and a heading inside, and I want to display this post's title, I can come here and just open this dynamic data pop-up and type title. And it will show the current post's title. But this is not what we're about to learn today. What if you need some custom data, such as custom posts loop? Well, in that case, you do need to handle GraphQL yourself, but we are here to help you every step of the way. So let's save this title now, jump for a second into the dashboard area, and see that we have testimonials, custom post type with a custom taxonomy called label. So let's build a custom post query. Custom post queries are built with GraphQL. To work with GraphQL, you have to open the GraphQL editor. It is located in this bottom panel here. This panel you can resize to fit your liking. So let's just explore the interface before we begin. So this is where you create your variables. Finally, you can get snippets here, and this is how you... Okay, so let's do a custom post query. To do that, we have to open the GraphQL editor, which is located here. It has several areas. It has a global and template scope. In global scope, all the queries located in here will run on each page load on the entire site. So put here only the things that you need on the entire site. Those that you don't need on the entire site run only in the template scope. So let's begin. To start building, you have to create the data variable. You have to give it a name, and this you can think of kind of like creating a file where it's going to be located. It's useful so you can more easily later refer back to this query even without recreating it again. So you can use the same query in multiple places. So I will call this custom posts, and I'll just save. And it's going to bring me into the code editor. And here I can see that I have some instructions in form of a comment. So if I come here and listen to the comment that tells me Control-I or Command-I or Mac is going to bring up this autocomplete, I can see that this works. But I don't want to write any code. At this moment, remember, I don't know anything about GraphQL. So let me explore further. I see here there are snippets. So I will click on snippets and see there's a bunch of snippets here. And I know that I want to build a custom posts query. So I will type custom and see what I have. Custom post query is the second one. First is the repeater, then custom query, then okay, custom post query with a description saying simple posts loop with arguments seems to be what I want. So I will click here and I will remove everything else and just paste my snippet. And without doing anything else, I'm just going to click get data. And I get the data immediately. If I look further into this, I will see by the titles that I'm getting pages and posts, but not testimonials, which is what I want. So let's do something about that. For the first time, look at the code a little bit. So I'll see that it starts with two comments, says posts query, then it has arguments, and in here I have posts type, and says posts page, post page. Okay, so this is why I'm getting posts and pages, I guess. So let's remove page and this comma, and instead of post, write testimonial. This has to correspond to the key of the custom post type. Testimonials, you will see that the key is testimonial. And I will now immediately refetch. I will get my data again, and I'm seeing new content. And if I check again here and go to testimonials, I'll see that these titles are these titles. So I'm starting to get things I need. So, but I'm getting too many things I don't need. So for instance, if I look at here, I see that my excerpts are coming out empty, which is because I don't use them. And so I notice immediately I actually just need a title here. So I'm going to remove this ID, which I don't need, and then excerpt, which I also don't need. And I'm going to get data again. And so now there's a bit less, but still too much. So let me remove the post date and refetch again. So, okay. And I'm getting this empty featured image, but I know I'm not using featured image. So looking here, it's a bit more complicated. It's no longer just one line. It has more. So I see it's featured image, file URL, and alt text. I realize I need to remove all of this because I don't need any of it. So I'm going to remove all of this and just get data. And finally, this looks nice. Okay. I see some pagination stuff, which I also don't need. So I will remove has pagination and do this again. Okay, that's gone now. Now I see pagination is a bit like that featured image. It has a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go all the way until this posts count and remove that. And so I'm going to get that data again. I see post count is here as well. It's telling me there's 8 posts. That's not really something I need. So I'm going to remove that as well. So now I have posts query here. Let's now use this thing inside the template. So I'm going to create another section, and inside that section a collection, and inside that collection a heading. Then I'm going to click on the collection element, and here I need my data. So I'm going to open this, and I'm going to type custom, because that's what I was using in my naming of the data var. Remember, when I created that data var, I called it custom posts. So back here, I'm going to say custom post query. And now I'm thinking, if I will be having more custom posts later, maybe that's not the best name. So let me go back, and I will rename this. I will come here and rename this to testimonials. So let me go back here and get that data again. That works. So let me look for testimonials, and now they are here, testimonial post query posts. Okay, so now my heading is getting repeated. All that remains is to use the actual post title. Okay, so this was creating post query using GraphQL. Let's continue. I will duplicate this section. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to create a new variable, and this time I'm going to call it labels. And I want to fetch for the custom taxonomy. So remember, this custom post type has a custom taxonomy. I'm going to immediately delete all this. I don't want to code. I'm going to go to snippets and say tax, and see that there is custom query taxonomy terms. I will paste it, fetch immediately, and realize I'm getting a lot of stuff, but it's coming from a taxonomy called category, which is not what I want. And let's go back to ACF taxonomies. And if I click here, I can see that my key is label. So instead of category, paste label here, get data, and now I'm getting terms I need. Still, I'm getting too many items. So let me remove everything here. So taxonomy, I don't need. Term ID, I don't need. So let me just remove those two. Then if I refetch, now I'm getting the name is the one I need. It's capitalized properly and it's called name. So that's good. And everything else, I'm just going to remove. So get data. Okay. So now I have my second query. Going back here, going to collection, deleting all this and saying label. I'm getting this. I can now use it. However, it's not generating anything. So let's check why. This one is referring to post title, which is definitely not what we need. So coming here, I see that I should just use name. And I'm getting this as well. How would we list all the users on this site? So I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call it users. Save and edit. Delete it all. Go to snippets. Type user and see that I have custom query user loop. Display all users with basic information. So I'm just going to copy that again and paste users. This we click get data and I see I'm getting 2 users. But I personally know there's 3. So going back to users, I'm checking the names. And now notice that the role of 2 of them is administrator and the third one is editor. I'm going to check my code and see that the role says administrator. So instead of deleting this, I'm just going to use the hashtag because that's the way you make a comment out of some code, making it not work anymore. So I will click get data again and see, oh, now there is 3 of them. Display name seems to in every case show like a nice name. And then there's email. So let's do that. Let's remove the ID and user login. Display name and user email is good, and all other things I don't need. So refetch to see if that's what I need. Yes. Okay, so let's use it. I'm going to duplicate this section. I'm going to go to collection, remove the custom taxonomy query and type users. And I'm going to look at this and say, this is quite ugly. Users.usersQuery.users. So let's explore why it looks like that. I'm going to put it down like this and click and say users. And let's compare. So users first until the first dot says it corresponds to this. And then users query is the second one. And finally users. So let's make this a little better using a feature that you cannot know about until someone tells you, but here I am telling you. So instead of users query, I'm going to call this loop. Instead of users, I'm going to call it items. And let's refetch. So now it's loop items. And if I now come here and say user, now it says users loop items. Much nicer. Okay. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to delete this heading, put a div inside heading, and then another div. And then inside the heading, I will use that name, display name, and in that div, email. Okay. Finally, let's do a repeater, a simple one. So I'm gonna create a repeater. But this repeater, let me show you what it is. So it's calling for Facebook and Twitter. So let's call it something that makes sense, social. And immediately delete all code and just type ACF. And the first result is repeater field. Get repeater data from current post. I'm going to paste it here and get data. And I will notice a couple of things. I'm getting an ID of this post. I'm getting a post title of this post. And I'm not getting anything from the repeater. So let's first remove the things I don't need. I don't need the post title or the ID. And check why is this repeater not working. Let's go to my field groups, and I see I have a simple repeater thing. And it seems this is the name of my repeater called simple repeater. But here it says my repeater. Let me read these comments. Change my repeater to actual ACF repeater field name. Oh, okay, so I need to change this. And I'm going to call this and I'm going to get data. Oh, finally, I see now I have a repeater with name and URL here. Duplicate this. I can delete the heading, delete the div, and even delete this div. Go to my collection, remove the users loop, look for social. It says social post repeater. Okay. And inside the template, I will add a link. So I don't like how they're just right one after the other. So going back to collection, styles, flex, column will help me with this. And now I can go to anchor, delete the static text, username, and in the URL field, use URL. If I now hover over, I will see in my lower left corner that these URLs are coming. So this is all in this introductory video about GraphQL. I hope you like it and see you in the next one.